flush it down the drain.
Hiya, welcome back to the channel. So we are in a Beamer, we're in a 330D E46 and I'm going to do an oil change. Now, it's a while since this car has had an oil change, but it's not that many miles, it's probably about 8,000 miles. And last time I did a super massive, ridiculous oil flush and it worked really well. I mean, I think I've got a picture, I'll put it on screen now if I have, of the oil about 2,500–3,000 miles after doing the oil change. It was still clean. But now it's done about 8,000 or 9,000 miles and it is not clean anymore. So it needs changing, and on this one, I'm going to use this, which is in fact a flush for a petrol engine, as it says there. Now this is not a petrol engine, this is a diesel engine, but it's okay because this is also for diesels as well, as you can see. It says and diesel. And I haven't in fact just made that up. I've been told by the suppliers that this will work fine in a diesel engine as well as a petrol engine. So that's what we're going to find out. And also, I am going to let it drain overnight. I'm going to let the oil drain overnight, and I'm going to see if that lets any more oil out than not draining it overnight. So we'll see if that actually does help the situation in getting as much oil out as possible. So first thing I need to do is I need to add this contents of this bottle into the oil. Yes. And now, to start the vehicle up and fast idle it for about 10 minutes. And 10 minutes are now up. So, let's turn the shitter off. And now, I'm ready to drain the oil, but to do that, I'm going to have to stick that under there because I am too fat to reach the sump plug. Yes. So that is a 17mm. I need to remove that. But first, let's put that underneath. Yes. And these M57s hold quite a lot of oil, so make sure you've got a big enough tub to put in. Obviously I'm going to drop that everywhere as I try and carry it to the oil dump, but I've replaced it with one so it shouldn't overflow at least. And now I can release this and let the car finish draining naturally whilst I take the oil filter out. And we do that by placing a 32mm socket up on it and turn it in an anti-clockwise manner, like so. Being careful not to splash it everywhere. Yes. And now we have that removed, and I've actually just placed it nice and carefully over there because I'm still waiting for the new filter to be delivered. But in the meantime, I can put the sump plug back in. So let's jack this back up enough so I can get underneath it. And I've just bunged the sump plug back in a turn just to stop any drips on the floor whilst I go and get rid of this and clean this out. Better. So now I'm going to put this under here, and I'm going to pull that sump plug back out, and then I'm going to leave it overnight and see if any more oil comes out. Yes. And then there it is. I've left the sump plug out, so it's going to drain all of the oil out of the engine overnight. I've took the jack away as well, so it doesn't get nicked overnight. And I've also put a little note on the steering wheel to say that there's no oil in it, to remind myself not to start it and fuck it up. So now I've just got to leave it till tomorrow. But in the meantime, we can fit this new filter. So I need to unfit the old one, which means carefully and gently pull that out of there. Take the new filter out of there, and we have got new O-rings and even a new sump washer in there. So let's put that back in there for a minute whilst we change the O-rings. And that is all three removed, which obviously I didn't show that one because it was outside where the camera was. So let's put the new ones on, the replacements, nice and carefully. Yes, and put a smear of oil on them, which we've got because I haven't wiped this off yet. And then wipe this off and gently install the new filter. And now we're ready to install this into the car, which is as simple as just putting it there, turn it round a few times with a 32mm socket, and then when you get to where it's tight, you nip it up to 25 Newton meters precisely. Click. And there we are. Night time has now passed, and it is in fact the next day, and I've thrown the jack underneath the shitter, and a bit of oil did start to come out when I did that. So let's let that finish for a minute, then we'll pull that ball out and see how much oil's actually in there. And now that seems to have stopped dripping, so sample back in with a new copper dick wash on it, obviously, and not forgetting to click, torque it to spec. So now it's time to see just how much oil dripped out overnight, and there is in fact some, more than I expected actually, because there was always going to be a bit that was stuck to the surfaces inside the sump and what have you, and inside the block or whatever, that's going to drain down overnight. But most of what's going to be trapped in the engine after an oil change is going to be sort of like in the little recesses, you know, around the camshafts and what have you, and it's going to pool in places that's never going to drain out. So there's more there. I didn't expect there to be that much. I mean, it's probably about 200 mil, maybe a bit more actually, probably a bit more actually. So yeah, that's how much oil's drained out of it overnight. So let's now fill it with oil, and this is the oil I'm going to put in it. Now I've got two of these are 5 litres, and I think this takes about 7.5. So to start with, I'm going to dump all of this into here. Yes. So that is a full drum of 5 litres installed, which, although it won't be full, is enough to start it. So and whilst the oil is circulating and filling up the oil filter and everything, which obviously it's now done, we can just make sure there's any leaks from it before turning it off and letting it settle. Now, something I like to do when I change the oil, when I start the car after it, is I like to try and flick the ignition a few times to turn the engine without it starting, but these seem to start on the first rotation of the engine, so it's hard to do that. So it didn't work, as you've seen. So now all there is left to do is to top it up, which I have now done. Now, as you can see, that is actually pretty clean. It's not as clean as when I did the super mega flush, it was never going to be, but for a diesel that's pretty clean. And I used 5 litres plus, I've used like 8.5 litres of oil, which I think is actually more than these are meant to take, but sometimes that happens. And the car is level, as you can see, so it has got the right amount of oil in it. So now I'm done. All I've got to do is reset the oil or the service indicator on the dash, but I'm not going to show that because I've shown it in another video already. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the usual shit, and I'll see you next time.